LeBron James just got traded to the Sixers, and the NBA is in a frenzy right now. From Tyrese Maxey, who couldn't hold back his excitement, to Vince Carter, who flat out called it cheating. Here's how players reacted to LeBron James's trade, starting with Jaylen Brown. One of the very first reactions to come out of the Philadelphia locker room belonged to Jaylen Brown, and it carried a quiet intensity that hit fans immediately. Within roughly 15 minutes of the official report that LeBron had agreed to join the 76ers, Brown went to X and posted a single familiar phrase: "Throw the ball up." That was it. No essay, no speech, no long paragraph of emotion. Just 4 small words that detonated across the internet, piling up well over 100,000 likes in a matter of hours and becoming one of the defining early responses of the entire day. The beauty of the post was in the callback. Brown had used those exact same 4 words earlier in the offseason, back when the Celtics first traded him to Philadelphia, essentially telling the city to throw the ball up so he could get to work. Reusing the line the moment LeBron's decision went public read, like both a celebration and a promise. Once the ball is tipped, nothing else matters but competing. Brown has never been the type for long emotional monologues, so the brevity felt completely true to his character, restrained on the surface, but absolutely loaded with meaning for the fans who recognized the callback. There was extra weight here too because of the layered history between Brown and LeBron. Back in 2024, cameras caught Brown at Summer League seeming to suggest Bronny James wasn't ready to be a pro, and LeBron had not forgotten it. As recently as February 2026, he addressed the relationship directly.
Our relationship has been, pretty respectful. Besides what he said about Bronny at Summer League, but other than that.
Brown later smoothed things over on social media, clarifying that having a son in the league is a flex and that he looked forward to watching Bronny grow. So when his own post arrived within minutes and dripped nothing but pure alignment and excitement, it told everyone the old awkwardness had been quietly set aside in favor of the shared goal, now sitting right in front of them. But if Brown's reaction was cool and controlled, the next teammate to weigh in was the complete opposite. Tyrese Maxey. Pure, unfiltered, screaming joy poured out of Tyrese Maxey, whose response was easily the most energetic of the early wave. Shortly after the news broke, Maxey posted an Instagram Stories video filmed right there on a gym floor. In the clip, he is down on the ground, visibly overwhelmed, his eyes wide with total disbelief as he lets loose. That was the whole thing. A young star reduced to yelling on the hardwood like a kid who just found out Christmas came in July. The caption underneath made it even better, reading simply, "I'm like Coach Cal," with a string of laughing emojis attached. It was the perfect punchline to cap off the perfect meltdown. The reference there is to John Calipari, Maxey's coach during his one season at Kentucky, and a man practically synonymous with elite recruiting. By comparing himself to Coach Cal, Maxey was playfully congratulating himself, joking that he personally had just reeled in the biggest recruit imaginable. Fans and media instantly latched onto it, passing the clip around and calling it the most joyous and relatable reaction of the entire day. It captured exactly what so many Sixers supporters were feeling in that moment, a sudden, almost giddy realization that something they'd assumed was impossible had actually just happened. And the celebration wasn't hollow. Maxey had been one of the loudest voices in the recruiting effort all along. Multiple reports noted that he, along with Embiid and Brown, stayed in constant contact with LeBron throughout free agency. As a fellow Clutch Sports client, Maxey's connection to LeBron ran deeper than the average teammate bond. The two had even shared early morning workout sessions in previous seasons, with LeBron publicly praising Maxey's work ethic. The Coach Cal joke revealed that same self-awareness. Maxey clearly understood the sheer magnitude of landing LeBron and was more than willing to lean into the humor of the moment instead of playing it cool. So, the outburst wasn't a performance. It was the natural release of weeks of quiet effort finally paying off. That same feeling of a childhood dream coming true was about to show up again, only in a much more clever package. VJ Edgecombe. Without saying a single word out loud, VJ Edgecombe delivered one of the most visually memorable and perfectly timed reactions of the whole day. Shortly after the news dropped, the young Sixers guard posted an Instagram Stories photo that recreated one of the most beloved LeBron memes in existence, the smiling through it all, "Can't believe this is my life" image. In the original clip from the 2017-18 era, LeBron is shown relaxing in a swimming pool, head tilted back, eyes gently closed, radiating pure and total contentment. Edgecombe mirrored the exact pose and the exact energy, except he did it inside the Sixers workout facility instead of a pool. His caption sealed it, "Smiling through it all." Can't believe this is my life. The post landed as pure, self-aware joy, and it spread within minutes, quickly becoming one of the defining social media images of the entire announcement. Edgecombe also shared a graphic of the projected new starting five, himself lined up beside Maxey, Brown, James, and Embiid, as if to underline that the moment felt almost too good to be true for a player still so early in his career. The recreation was playful instead of over the top, which matched Edgecombe's naturally low-key personality while still perfectly conveying his genuine disbelief. Media and fans repeatedly called it one of the cleanest reactions of the day, precisely because it borrowed LeBron's own language of quiet gratitude and pointed it straight at the new reality in Philadelphia. What made it hit even harder is that the connection here runs far deeper than a simple meme. Edgecombe has long described LeBron as his favorite player growing up, and the entire reason he first picked up a basketball. Raised in the Bahamas, he watched the Miami Heat years more closely than any other team, and has openly named LeBron his GOAT. Back in December 2025, after facing the Lakers, Edgecombe received James's jersey and called the experience surreal, admitting he still felt like a kid in that moment. Now that kid shared a roster with his hero, but not everyone who once shared a locker room with LeBron was celebrating. Some were quietly nursing a case of regret. Andre Drummond. Quietly, almost slyly, Andre Drummond served up something understated and layered that instantly read as classic veteran humor, sprinkled with just a touch of FOMO. When Shams Charania's breaking report hit X, Drummond replied with a single, small O followed by a surprised, almost deflated emoji. Then, minutes later, he circled back and followed it up with a firm, "I'm good where I'm at," and a pair of prayer hands. Read together. The two posts told a complete little story, a momentary flinch as his former team dramatically upgraded, immediately covered up by a proud declaration that he was perfectly content with his new home on the defending champion Knicks. The tone was widely taken as playful rather than bitter. Drummond had spent multiple seasons with the Sixers, including the two most recent ones, before signing in New York during free agency. Watching that same franchise add both Jaylen Brown and then LeBron in a single offseason created an obvious what-if moment, and Drummond leaned right into the tension without ever overplaying it. The brevity and the emoji choices kept everything feeling light and self-aware, enough to spark conversation and laughter, but never so pointed that it curdled into genuine resentment. The extra flavor comes from Drummond's real history with LeBron. Back in 2021, after a buyout from Cleveland, Drummond joined the Lakers for the stretch run, and even though the stint was brief, it left a permanent mark. Drummond has repeatedly called LeBron one of the smartest players he's ever shared a locker room with, detail-oriented to a genuinely shocking degree. He loves to tell one story about a defensive possession where LeBron stopped him from overhelping by rattling off an opponent's exact three-point percentage in real time, telling him that man's shooting 32% from three. Drummond has said that single moment changed how he studies film forever, and he's also fondly called LeBron a workaholic and a big kid who's genuinely fun to be around off the court. So when he typed, "I'm good where I'm at," he knew better than almost anyone exactly what Philadelphia had just added, which gave the light, self-deprecating post an extra layer of texture. And where Drummond kept it subtle, the next reaction threw subtlety straight out the window. Gilbert Arenas, from the least glamorous location imaginable, his own bathroom, Gilbert Arenas delivered one of the most theatrical and completely unfiltered reactions of the entire day. Filming himself mid-scroll, Agent Zero reacted to the news in real time with pure, exaggerated disbelief.
As I sit here on the toilet, this is what I come across.
From there, he stared at his screen, shook his head, and launched into the kind of rapid-fire, zero-filter commentary that only Arenas can produce. He questioned whether the man on the screen was even really LeBron at all.
This don't look right. I'm sorry. Like, who is this?
Then he pushed the mockery further, poking at LeBron's look and the very idea of the destination itself, treating the whole decision like a personal affront to the King's image.
Got your beard on and looking like Freeway, going like Philly.
Arenas kept spiraling, insisting the move made no sense for a player of James's stature, and joking that it must have somehow slipped past the people closest to him at home.
What? I know Savannah didn't approve this. Nobody approves going to Philly.
The whole performance was vintage Agent Zero, exaggerated faces, casual setting, and absolutely no restraint. And yet, even while roasting the decision into the ground, Arenas never crossed into real hostility. He landed the plane on a note that was half congratulation and half troll, keeping the entire thing firmly in the lane of entertainment.
Congratulations, but I'm booing. Yeah, I'm booing.
That mix of shock, mockery, and playful jabbing fits the long, complicated history between the two. Arenas and LeBron go all the way back to their early NBA years, facing each other repeatedly in the mid-2000s when Arenas was a scoring machine in Washington and James was still building his empire in Cleveland. Arenas has openly admitted he once genuinely disliked LeBron during those battles, particularly after a memorable playoff series when James tapped him on the shoulder late in the game as if to signal the end. Over the years, that competitive edge softened into respect laced with ongoing commentary. Where Arenas turned the moment into comedy, the next Hall of Famer turned it into a cold basketball verdict. Vince Carter. One word was all it took to sum up the Sixers' new starting five, and it came from Vince Carter, a Hall of Famer whose take carried the full weight of a man who understands exactly how rosters are built to win. Appearing on his podcast Cousins alongside Tracy McGrady, he watched the news land and settled on a verdict that would echo across every platform for the rest of the day. He didn't dress it up or hedge. He simply called the Sixers' new group what he thought it was.
That's cheating. That's cheating if he goes there, because he doesn't have to do much to still be him. Your fifth starter has to guard one of those guys. That would be crazy.
That framing is what made the take stick. Carter zeroed in less on LeBron's individual greatness and more on the sheer impossibility of the defensive assignments this new starting five would create. With Maxey, Edgecombe, Brown, James, and Embiid, all capable of demanding a defense's full attention, Carter argued the talent was simply distributed too unfairly. He closed the thought by wishing good luck to the rest of the NBA, delivered with a mix of amusement and honest concern for opposing coaches. Coming from Carter, that assessment carried real credibility. This is a man who lasted 22 seasons in the league and saw practically every era of modern basketball roll past him. When someone with that much mileage looks at a roster and says it feels unfair, it isn't hype. It's a veteran's honest recognition of just how stacked the group looks on paper. The word cheating was quoted everywhere within minutes precisely because it came from a credible, measured place, and the respect underneath it runs deep. Carter and LeBron have long admired each other across generations. LeBron once said he wanted to attend North Carolina partly because of Carter, and later produced a documentary, The Carter Effect, about Carter's influence on Canadian basketball. Their relationship has always been built on mutual admiration rather than rivalry, which is exactly why Carter's cheating line landed as professional awe instead of resentment. That awe, though, was nothing compared to the raw emotion pouring out of a Philadelphia legend. Allen Iverson? That legend, of course, was Allen Iverson, and for him, the news landed as pure, unfiltered joy, the kind only a franchise icon who has waited decades for a moment exactly like this one can truly feel. On Instagram, he posted a photoshopped image of LeBron already draped in a Sixers uniform and paired it with a caption that radiated pure vindication. "I love life. God don't play about me and mine." For a man whose own legendary Philadelphia run peaked with the 2001 finals, this was clearly more than just another transaction. It was personal. Later that same day, appearing in an interview to talk it through, Iverson expanded on the feeling in his signature straightforward style. Asked directly how he felt about LeBron coming to play for the Sixers, he didn't hesitate for a second.
No, I don't like it. I love it.
From there, he made his case plainly, pointing to the one thing that matters most when you add a player of this caliber to a hungry roster.
He's the best player in the world. And I know that the city would embrace him, they would love him, and they would treat him well.
Iverson also pushed back hard on the popular worry that a veteran like LeBron might stifle the younger Sixers. In his view, that concern had it completely backwards.
You need guys like that. He's a vet. He's been through all the wars.
He even went further, suggesting LeBron would do wonders for the younger core by helping them with the mental side of the game, not just the physical part. That belief comes from a place of genuine, long-standing respect. LeBron has repeatedly named Iverson one of his favorite players growing up, second only to Michael Jordan, once describing him as pound for pound one of the greatest to ever play. Iverson has returned the admiration many times over, placing LeBron high in his own GOAT conversations. Their bond has always been about respect across generations rather than rivalry, which is exactly why Iverson's celebration felt so natural and so deeply personal. But not every legend was ready to throw a party. One of the game's most famous voices had some very mixed feelings. Charles Barkley. Leave it to Charles Barkley to feel about 5 things at once. His reaction was pure, unmistakable Chuck, equal parts surprise, mild disappointment, and eventual grumbling acceptance. The first thing he wanted the world to know was that the news had genuinely inconvenienced him, dragging him off the golf course and onto television to talk about a move he wasn't even sure he liked.
I was good till y'all ruined my day. I was heading to the golf course, now I had to turn around.
Once he settled in, Barkley admitted his honest first emotion, and it wasn't excitement. It was something closer to disbelief, rooted in where he wished LeBron had gone instead.
Shocked, because I wanted him to go back to Cleveland. I mean, he has no affiliation with the 76ers.
Even so, Barkley couldn't deny the basketball reality once the shock wore off. He pointed straight at the real catalyst, arguing that the whole thing only became possible because Boston made a move he still can't wrap his head around.
Well, I think the kicker was Jaylen Brown. He wouldn't have came to Philly if they didn't get Jaylen Brown.
From there, the analysis turned pragmatic. Barkley acknowledged that on paper, the Sixers now looked like the team to beat in the East, even floating the idea that Embiid would only need to be the fourth best player on his own roster. But he also refused to abandon his long-running criticism of LeBron, the one older guys like him always come back to.
He stacked it in Miami. He stacked it in Cleveland. He stacked it in LA. Now he's stacking it in Philly.
That tension defines the whole reaction. As a Sixers legend himself, Barkley genuinely wants his own former franchise to win, yet he privately wishes LeBron had chosen a cleaner Cleveland farewell to close out his career. The two men have a long, sometimes contentious relationship built on years of TNT debates, where Barkley has never been shy about calling LeBron a team stacker, even while acknowledging his greatness. Blunt, slightly contradictory, and ultimately practical, that's the Chuck special. And speaking of players who once shared a title with LeBron, the next reaction came wrapped in pure nostalgia. Dwight Howard. Pure, playful nostalgia is what Dwight Howard brought to the moment, wrapped up in the classic Superman sense of humor that fans have loved for years. Shortly after the news broke, Howard hopped on X and fired off a single cheeky line, "Bring back my boy Ben, too." The post came attached to an old photo of himself and Ben Simmons from their days together on the Sixers, and fans understood the joke instantly, a tongue-in-cheek plea for Philadelphia to complete the reunion by welcoming Simmons back into the fold. What made it work was the restraint. Howard didn't over-explain, didn't write a paragraph, and didn't turn it into a whole statement. The single line in the throwback photo did all the heavy lifting, generating a flood of laughs and a wave of replies that mixed old jokes about Simmons' rocky Philadelphia tenure with genuine amusement at Howard's impeccable timing. It felt like the kind of reaction that could only come from someone who actually lived through those turbulent late process years in Philadelphia, affectionate toward the franchise while still gently poking fun at its messy recent history. It was also a quiet acknowledgement of just how dramatically the roster had transformed since Howard's own stint in the city. Underneath the joke sits a genuinely complicated and ultimately successful history between Howard and LeBron. The two first crossed paths as high school phenoms, then spent years facing off as rivals, most memorably in the 2009 Eastern Conference Finals. Eventually, though, they came together on the 2019-20 Lakers and won a championship as teammates. Howard has spoken warmly about LeBron's leadership and communication in those later years, even while admitting there was occasional friction during their second Lakers stint together. That shared ring and those long overlapping careers are exactly what gave Howard the standing to fire off a "Bring Ben Back" joke. It reads as an insider ribbing his old teammate, not an outsider taking shots from the cheap seats. Where Howard kept things loose and funny, the final voice brought the conversation back to something dead serious: a championship. Kendrick Perkins. That final voice closed things out the same way Kendrick Perkins closes out most debates: direct, confident, and completely allergic to hedging. Appearing on ESPN's NBA Today, he didn't nibble around the edges of the conversation or bury his opinion under a pile of caveats. He walked straight up to the boldest possible claim and planted his flag in it.
Let me just keep it real. The Philadelphia 76ers with LeBron James can win a championship this year with this roster.
From there, Perkins explained the specific reasoning behind his confidence, and it wasn't about star power alone. It was about temperament, the kind of tough, competitive, physical group that LeBron has historically thrived alongside throughout his career.
But LeBron James loves to play with a bunch of dogs.
That's the heart of Perkins' take. He framed the signing as a legitimate title upgrade rather than a sentimental farewell tour, insisting the current Sixers core of Maxey, Brown, Embiid, and Edgecombe matches exactly the kind of hard-nosed roster LeBron needs around him. In Perkins' eyes, the mix of proven playoff experience, elite scoring, and interior dominance created a group that could genuinely win right now. He even walked through the matchups, noting that a versatile LeBron has no problem switching onto and defending someone like the Knicks' Karl Anthony Towns when the playoff stakes get high. The confidence isn't random. Perkins and LeBron go all the way back to their teenage AAU days, and the two later overlapped as teammates on the 2015 Cavaliers. Having personally felt how terrifying a locked-in LeBron could be in the 2008 playoffs, Perkins knows better than most what this addition means, and so his verdict landed with total authority. Yes, they are legit title contenders, and yes, they could win it all this year. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes playing on your screen to watch more similar content.